I have never seen anyone die then, so beautiful. She lay on her back, putting on a single red, quiet costume as if she was just sleeping in a 1,000-year-old ancient coffin. But the most strange thing is, has ch. The skin is still shiny like pearl, soft cheeks, in the middle of the forehead there is a bright red spot. It's so beautiful that people are stunned, the soul hangs upside down. My village is famous for being poor, a lot of men and women are few. The men who opened the coffin widened their eyes, as if they were hypnotized. More than a dozen people surrounded the river. In the end, my father was the most brave person. He reached out, trying to put under her nose. It is true that it is, but why is it like a living? So beautiful. If I got married to a beautiful wife like this, I would like it. The village head was the first person to wake up, immediately ordered the coffin to close. The unusual story is due to the demon love. Tomorrow I call the Taoist to see. But right at the moment the coffin is about to be closed, I suddenly felt a cold look through my spine. Shortly thereafter, I held my breath. Because through the slot of the Mandarin, I saw that T.H.ith turned to look at me. She wore a phoenix hat, 2 dark eye sockets, the corners of her mouth slightly lifted, a strange smile. I panicked, hastily grabbed ch. Dad. She opened her eyes to look at me. I stammered. But my father did not pay attention. Or rather, he never really looked at this girl in this life, with kind eyes. He just stared at the coffin, his eyes were fascinated. The unsteady form of attachment made the surrounding men laugh. Baby, your mother left home for half a year. You crave a woman coming crazy. Seeing the beauty, I forget heaven and earth, right? That night, I could not sleep forever. It rained as pouring water, showing no signs of raining. The long rain seemed to want to submerge this small village. I hate the rainy days. Because half a year ago, also on such a rainy day, my mother went missing. The whole village avoided mentioning her. Everyone said she followed the man in the village and fled. But I know, she is not like that. She once said, if you leave it, I will definitely take you with you. I pulled from the neck to the small pearl of the Buddha, which was my mother's memorabilia left for me. For some reason, when the female exam in the coffin looked at me, the piece of jade suddenly was hot. So hot that my neck blistered a red mark. I tightened the piece of jade, softly called my mother's name in my heart, then gradually fell asleep. Floods blocked the way to the village. It was not until more than half a month later that the Taoist arrived. As soon as he saw the ancient coffin, he exclaimed, "The lake people are too. The coffin is submerged in the water, T.H.it. Dare to open the lid by yourself? Not afraid of being betrayed." Shortly thereafter, he gave him the old rooster, raised for 5 to 6 years. /MA.U filled with a large pot. Thuan Duong rooster is specialized for engraving, the more aggressive, the more they can exorcise and chase devil. Before reopening the coffin, he forced all the people who had touched the lid of the coffin had to light the 3 incense sticks. Afterwards, he poured all pots on the coffin, burning the mantra, reciting the except for the evil. Ro. A few heavy echoes, the coffin opened. The inner scene makes all ch. A cold air running along my spine. The female contest is still as beautiful as the original. But, her stomach was as big as a person who was about to give birth. Very loud, like 9-month pregnancy. Under the pale white skin, there is something, wiggling. The body was sealed for thousands of years. Pregnant again. The dead, how can you get pregnant? How can it be? Who made her pregnant? The Taoist sweat like a shower, his face pale, panicked and shouted. Rooster only caught the sound of the spirit, could not apply love. Loving the poet, will destroy all people in this village. He said, looking around the crowd. When opening the coffin, what happened in the end? The village head was so scared that his legs were trembling, not daring to hide it anymore, telling everything. It turned out that when opening the mandarin, the female contestant had a gold charm. But he had not yet stopped, the people in the village could not wait, hastily removed. After listening, the Taoist shook his head, his voice was gloomy. Both the coffin and the uncle are used to kill the killing intent. She must bring great resentment, to use this way of sealing. Even so, the villagers still find it hard to believe. How many years have you died, how can you still get pregnant? Zhang's Taoist smiled coldly. Look at her body from costumes to utensils, all of the noble house. Despite the uniform, proving that her stomach has already had a fetus that has not been formed. A few days ago, there were people, giving her aura. So, the devil had no chance to develop. I heard and shuddered myself, all the goosebumps. Every word is like a barbell and crushed it straight into my lap. From the day of opening the coffin until now, the female body became bigger and bigger. But in the village also began to appear strange stories. The first is the father and son of the slaughterhouse at the top of the village. In the middle of the night suddenly disappeared without traces. Finally discovered the family of Not stopping there, the unique son of the old hoe in the wall of my house also disappeared. When he found, T.H.ith, was just like the other father and son. Dry, shrinking into dry body. I suddenly remembered that I had seen them sneaking out there a few times out there. The face was gloating, but also full of stomach. Deo, please save us. That demon girl harmed the whole village into a widow, children were also orphaned. A crowd of people kneeling to the ground, crying and pleading their heads. The Taoist coldly turned away, smiling faintly. Cause and effect of circulation. Who told you not to respect the dead? At this time, the whole village fell in extreme panic. Tam Bok's eyes, 3 white parts, of the Taoist as a hawk eye, swept through each man in the village. If you want to raise such fetuses so fast, only 3 people are not enough. That sentence was like thunder in the sky, exploding in all those who are hugging secret. Perhaps. My heart was pounding, involuntarily glancing to his father. His face was pale, dark skin often had no blood. On the outside, it seemed calm, but the 2 fists clenched tightly to trembling. I even heard the sound of sprinkled softly from his finger joints. I know, he is panic. Because, he also touched the female exam. Female T can fascinate people's hearts. Since seeing her, my father changed completely. Both people seemed to be lost their souls. The eyes are always foolish, not eating, thin day by day. Recently, every midnight, he hurried out of the house. Going for a while is an hour, when returning, the face, satisfied to the creepy. I used to ask him where to go. He annoyed his hand, responded through the speaker. Come over to Uncle Hai's house in the east of the village. I did not dare to expose him, afraid of being beaten. But I know. The uncle 2 months ago had just burned down. The whole family is in the sea of fire. He, gambled with? That night, I heard a soft noise in the yard. I crept down the bed and took the courage to follow him. Actually, I always doubt. Dad hid his mother somewhere. Perhaps, to punish because she wants to escape. He once said. I raised your mother but it did not listen to me, bought it for decades but also thought of another guy outside. Women in the city are all cunning, hard. He repeated as a reassuring words. He thought, as long as his mother gave birth to a son, he would not afford to leave him anymore. Midnight in the village was as quiet as a sheet. There is no insect, no wind, even the shadow of the night bird. I held my breath, quietly following. His shadow led me to the cemetery of the village where the coffin was not buried. He looked around a few times, Certainly no one saw, then quickly got inside. Midnight into the cemetery, for what? I was bewildered, quietly tiptoeing to the window, my eyes opened. And right at that moment my heart stopped beating. He pushed the coffin lid. Then like a crazy person, rushed to kissing the female exam inside. Soon after, the disgusting sounds began to echo from within. I covered my mouth tightly, slipped to the ground, my whole body trembled, so disgusting that I wanted to vomit. Perhaps every night, but it is a corpse. A body has been lying still for thousands of years. In that cemetery, there was absolutely no living, but my father muttered as if he was confident. Bayaji. I miss you crazy. I waited for me impatient, right. Outside the cemetery, full of black crows, sealed on dry branches, silently stared at me. All right, I will listen to you. As long as you obediently. Later, the family of the three of us will never have to divide leaving. Three family. I did not dare to think. Feeling like going crazy, I got up, turned around and ran home. The wind hit my face with tears. In that endless night, I felt like there were thousands of eyes watching me, mocking, wanting to pull me down with mud. It was only when I crawled into the blanket, wrapped around my body tightly, I dared to exhale. But at that moment, there was an arm, from the outside of the blanket, hugging me. Cold. Cold like snake scales, cold to bone. Only in an instant, Ma. A gentle voice rang in his ear, softly, coldly. Don't be afraid. Bao boi. Mother here. My mind is completely empty. Is mother's voice? Only my mother called me the treasure. In my eyes, I am useless. In the eyes of my grandparents and aunts and uncles, I was a girl who could only spend money. But to my mother, I am a treasure of my mother. My mother was the only one in the village who had studied at college. Ever since I had memories, I had never seen my mother laugh. Mother tall, slender, gentle speech. Despite living in deprivation, she always kept her long, tidy, and smooth hair like silk. She is not like any woman in the village. I only knew later. Mother was kidnapped and then sold here. In the third university, on the way to support teaching in the mountains, the mother was arrested and sold here. Mom. I burst into tears. Tears poured out like a broken dike. Through the blanket, those cold hands still gently stroked me. Mother's nostalgia tore her chest, overwhelming all fears. I almost wanted to hold my hand back, and then at that moment, Angie. The piece of Buddha wearing in front of the neck of the mother's gift is emitting intense heat. It was so hot as if there was a pink coal pressing straight to the chest, a hot air running along the top of the head. In that moment, I was awake. She is not my mother. In the room, the small light bulb on the ceiling was creaking, flickering non-stop. The light is turned off at the time, when dark, when dazzling. Those cold hands let go of me. I took the courage, lifted a corner of the blanket. From the gap, I saw a pair of eyes without iris, so wildly white, staring at me. The female contest lying on the outside of the blanket, a smile, causing my heart to fall into the ice pit. I was afraid to go to the clouds to hide into the blanket all night and did not dare to close my eyes. The next day, I secretly recounted all to the Taoist, pleading him to save us. The whole village is still shocked by the continuous CHT. Someone asked the police but was immediately stopped by the village head. The reason he gave was this story that revealed, I lost all my face, who would dare to marry her daughter later in this village? Where do the wives in the village come from, in the hearts of the most obvious people? This word just said, everyone bowed silently. Because many daughter-in-law in the village, do not come here voluntarily. Once the police enter, their identity will definitely be overturned. And then, they will leave forever. The Taoist huffed, exposed the truth. He didn't have to be afraid of that. He was just afraid the police confiscated the coffin. There are many burial items in it, he regretted his intestines. See. Everyone has their own calculations. Compared to the devil, people are more difficult to predict more than. Now the female exam has been sealed and guarded by the Taoist. Surrounded by the Dharma, charms, the battle of Tata. My father could not approach the coffin anymore, began to go crazy like a lovelorn, all day walking around the house, frustratingly kicking the tables and chairs, otherwise dragged me to make sandbags to vent the anger. I only know how to endure. To this day. Someone knocked on the door. Is the village head. He came to collect money. The Taoist cost 15,000, not short of a penny. Each house must contribute. This is not normal wages. Love T is about to have a child, need to invite her to support. If there are no more people, the greater the fetus, the higher the need for absorption of positive air. Once you leave the mother's body without being led. Unpredictable consequences. The middleman is not to help people give birth, but to support the dead. If the demon is born, people within a radius of hundreds of miles will die. My father at first pretended to duck, showing poverty, his mouth said. I don't have money, why make me contribute? The village leader lost his patience, his voice. Who should pay? Know in your heart. I also know clearly. Lao Vuong, come to this country, but you still regret those dirty coins. I was worried about being involved, hurriedly blurted out. My family still has money. There are 5,000. Pop dash. A slapping heaven hit my face. B.A. gritted his teeth and gnawed, angrily screaming. What the hell do you know? Shut up for me. My head was on his head, his eyes were all out, his cheeks were hot. Nasal blood flowed out, flowing along the cheeks and then small to the ground, salty. But I don't lie. Half a month ago, my father sold me to Mr. Tran Lame by the next village. Lao Tran is enough to be my grandfather. The brutal temperament has been beaten. I was married as a hand, and the poor granddaughter of the old man was dragged back to my place, in the name of the next daughter-in-law in this house. People in the village call this change. In this place, girls are like money, can be used to exchange and buy. And from a certain perspective, I am very valuable. I am young, intact, good appearance. Mr. Tran changed me clearly a big word. Therefore, he gave 5,000 more for my father. Dad still loudly. My money doesn't have. My life is only one. But knowing that he could not argue, he suddenly pushed me out in front of the Taoist, coldly shouting. Old man. Aren't you in need of support for the devil's birth? My daughter is here. The midwife was an old lady who was over 70 years old. Having been in the sound of the sound, she has been working for 55 years. But this is the first time to give birth to a 1,000-year-old female poet immeasurable. Did you really think carefully? She was thin, her back was like a dried shrimp, her face was full of age, wrinkled like a bark item. But eyes were bright, sharp like a knife. I nodded. I think carefully. No regrets. I also deliberately asked the Taoist to go to the village. Anyone who has ever continued, will be engraved, unlucky, life cannot marry. As expected, Mr. Tran heard that he was afraid of green, now loudly demanding to pay people. Compared to being married to the 60-year-old old man like Mr. Tran, I would rather do this. I obediently followed the midwife. This girl is also wise, she said softly. So listen carefully to me, just one step wrong we will die. She took out 3 items from the fabric bag, gave it to me. This is a jacket and gloves made from leather, helping to cover the spirit of the living. Originally, women have been less positive than men, so from the past until now, the continuation, must always be female. And this thing is the cord cut of the navel. I looked at the fox leather shirt with only one set, unable to worry. Don't you use it? She laughed. When I was young, I had half of my body and my body was placed on the other side and then on the sound of the air more than the positive air, no more. I took a heavy scissors. The candle lights on the tongue with black pull, not reflecting any light rays. At that time, I will give birth. You, is the person who cut the umbilical cord. Remember my words. Pregnancy is very aggressive. It will definitely be close. Especially the type of birth from a 1,000-year-old female body once crying, the whole village will have no one to survive. I took the courage, whispered. So. Why don't we be the female seal now? She replied, her eyes still looked straight ahead. Being a mother will be strong. Once we intend to hurt her child, even though it is now a devil will risk protecting our children. The child when born, must immediately put in the cradle. This cradle is woven with a charm, has been trained 81 days. After that, the Taoist will chant the birth mantra for 81 days and nights. Only then did their mother and daughter have a chance to be superficial. The cemetery is now no different from a prostitute. The Taoist could not enter, could only build a legal battle outside. As soon as he stepped in, a smell of moldy, fishy, and strong gas rushed into his nose. It is difficult to describe that feeling as if inhaling the cold soil under the grave. I shivered once, saying that I was not afraid, it was a lie. My hand was soaked in cold sweat. The midwife told me to light a white candle. The fire bursts, weak but persistent. Under the candle light, the sound of the air in the room dissolves more or less, no longer as thick as when he first entered. The female exam is located in the middle of the room. Her stomach was asleep as if it was about to break. I'm very sure. She is now, even more beautiful than the first time. Red lips like fresh M.U, white skin like tofu, soft, smooth to the point that makes people go crazy. That beauty. Bring a distorted, evil desire. I hurriedly turned away, not daring to look closely, afraid that just a second later, she would jump up at her. If you are afraid, then recite the mind that we only go. The midwife began to defend. She took all her life experience, start rubbing the abdomen of the female exam. Her movements were strange, sometimes strong at light, her hands rubbed her hand, her mouth muttered constantly. I am a midwife for you, my name is Lu Ba. You're already a period, should give birth. I know all, know the frustrations, the pain you have to suffer. UCH. Every sentence, every word, she said frankly to the female body. And then the strange thing happened. IC.H.T.T silence. The heart beats in the chest. In front of my eyes, the female exam started slowly, the form of foot. I tried to suppress the fear, following the midwife's instructions. My hands trembled. I took off her skirts for the female exam. It is inevitable, touching her flesh. The first feeling was surprisingly smooth. Compared to rough hands because of many years of plowing in my field, her skin, soft like silk, like candle wax. But too cold. Cold to numb. Cold as ice buried deep underground for thousands of years. That feeling made me reflect the reflexes immediately. At that moment, 2 female eye sockets began to bleed. I was startled to look right in front of the altar, where 3 incense sticks were placed before the ceremony. In the grave-stealing profession, it said. The person lighting candles, the devil blows the lights. And here the person burns incense, demons breaking incense. 3 incense sticks plugged in front of the spirit. 2 early trees, only 1 tree standing still, burning red. It is said that it is the incense burned too short and long and there is a viciousness. If anyone mentions 3 short and short, it is no longer a incense but refers to the coffin. The idiom 3 long 2 short comes from the structure of the traditional coffin, usually made from 3 long planks, including the sides and the bottom, and the 2 short planks, including the head and legs. Therefore, this phrase becomes a metaphor for death. Is a sign of death. As for the incense of the ch. And now, on the table, there is only a tree in the middle that is still upright, not moving. That means people c.h.t do not leave. Resentment is too deep, cannot escape. If you don't give birth right away, it's late. Through this moment, both mother and child will turn into demons. We are no longer able to get rid of it. The midwife panicked. Resentment, is finally resentment? Resentment. I tried to search in my mind, and then remember. A few days ago, the Taoist investigated the background of the female exam in the history book of the district. The real name of the female T is Dong Thi Nu. 1,000 years ago, the Dong family was the most noble, richest family in this area. Dong Thi is a young and virtuous young woman than people. When she was 16, she was promised to marry another rich family, which was a good predestined relationship. But right on the day of the body, the palanquin was robbed by the bandits, she was humiliated for a month, then escaped, returned to her mother's home. It seems safe. Any doubt, her parents, brothers, because of her reputation, because of her face, taking advantage of when she was not wary, quietly strangling her to death. The day she died, coincided with the ceremony vu lan the full moon in July. On the body, he still wears a complaint, in his stomach is still pregnant. After death, resentment of the sky, not dissolving, causing Dong Gia to meet the calamity in a row. Finally, they hired the magician to go to the town, closed the coffin, drowned to the bottom of the river, implying, permanently unable to reincarnate. When I heard the Taoist, my heart seemed to be squeezed. The feeling of pity, bitterly rising to the throat. It turned out, women in the past, even if a noble lady, was no different from me now. Also sold, also tied up by the ceremony, by prejudice, by selfish men. The era has changed. We should also live differently. I don't know where I get brave. In the moment, M.A. I grabbed ch. You were able to escape from the robbery, dare to live, dare to fight fate. You're not wrong. It's wrong for your family, the old society was gi. I know you can't be far away from the child in the stomach. But today, even if you have a girl, you don't need to be afraid anymore. That girl will be able to go to school later, go to work, and choose her own path. Nobody will dare to harm him. Let the child reincarnate. It will no longer suffer like you anymore. Those words I could not think, just shouting with the whole soul. And then the miracle happened. Blood in female eye sockets, stop flowing. I bet, and I bet right. Even if it is a female contest, there is also a motherhood. Just put herself in her position, will understand the worries in her heart. Very quickly, the girl's immobile face began to twist and fiercely like trying to push. And then I heard the crying of babies. Kid. Quickly cut the umbilical cord. The midwife shouted. She was exhausted, sweating profusely, her hands trembling, not to be able to stand anymore. Thousands of times do not let the ghost open your eyes. My forehead was also wet sweat, blurred vision because of stress and flickering light. The pale moonlight shone through the broken tile roof, shining into the murky house. I lifted the baby to a red creature, still slimy, Mimi, crying but weak. The fishy smell is filled with the nasal cavity. The tiny body was still warm, one head was still stuck to the female exam through a fragile umbilical cord. Congratulations, congratulations. It's a son, 3 rounds. The midwife tried to take a happy voice, towards the female T and informed the news. I pulled, my hand trembled in batches. At that moment, in my head, my father said before leaving the house, he clenched my shoulder, his voice was excited. "This child, must keep it. Can't let them harm it. It is my younger brother. Is the line of my family." Finally, the Wang family has a connection. It turned out, the arrest of me continued to sound, the whole of 3. I choked my voice. It was a pregnancy, not an ordinary person. The Taoist said that if he did not eliminate it, he would be close, the whole village was buried along. My father screamed, his eyes red as blood. How can a son harm his father? Even if he is a devil, it is also Pi brought Vuong family, must be the people of my family. He was crazy. His whole life craved for women, craving to have a son, to the point of crazy. In front of my eyes is a fragile umbilical cord, but connecting the life of the whole area of 8 villages. The baby moved. The eyelids are trembling slightly, upcoming, opening eyes. I did not hesitate to grind my teeth, cut a strong swelt. Immediately, I hugged the child, placed it in the cradle filled with a charm. At the same time, the Taoist rushed in, his hands sealed, his mouth read the mantra, performed the charm in a breath. The murky mist covered the night finally disappeared. The moon shone down, the cemetery yard was filled with pure silver. The Taoist turned to, solemnly told the village head. Chanting 81 days, the evil will be completely eliminated. The village head was happy to shed tears, holding ch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But before he could breathe, "Oe!" A second child crying tear-torn at the quiet atmosphere. Immediately after that was a strong smell of stinking, fluttering as strong as ch. I turned around, and saw between the 2 female legs where the birth where she was born continued to stir. A small head, full of mucus and slimy, come out again. Well. The head of the village fell to the ground, his legs trembled. Even the experienced old midwife also had no blood. It's twins. The body of thousands of years of pregnancy. The twins of the ghost galaxy, the world is chaotic, Mau flows into the river. The ghost opens his eyes. Crying a few hours and then turning into a black smoke, disappearing. After giving birth to the second child, the iridescent skin of the female contest became gray, pale.